You brought up something that is a huge topic in what you just said. You brought up alignment between the different departments. And in this study of asking these 50 B2B C-suite executives, what are the greatest challenges to creating long-term sustainable growth? Internal alignment was by far the number one challenge. And what's interesting here is number one challenge was internal alignment. Number two challenge was lack of a deep understanding of the customer. The number three challenge was the balance between short and long term. And you talked about like a marketer that has a branding perspective versus a marketer that has a product perspective versus a CRO that has a quota over his or her head, right? So this idea of alignment, the prevailing thought has been from these C-suite executives is that the voice of the customer is the alignment factor. Right. That is the most important, highest authority voice in the business. So I just wanted to throw that out and ask for your thoughts on this, because if misalignment is such a huge issue for us and challenge for us internally that we have to solve, what's the best way that we go about doing that? And does the customer voice have a big role in that?
I think where some companies get caught up is that it's not voice of the customer, it's voice of the customers. And I think that's where people get hung up, because in the scenario I gave earlier, where companies get sidelined and what they had as the roadmap because a singular customer who falls outside of what their target is shifts that roadmap, you've now actually gotten away from the voice of the customer. You've gotten away from the voice of the customers and you've gone to the voice of a customer, which is a big problem, because I hate aging myself like this. And when I talk out loud, it scares me sometimes. I feel like the old guy on the porch right now. But when we went back to like hardware versus the cloud, we used to have 3-year roadmaps, and we had to have 3-year roadmaps because hardware is difficult because you have to build out new form factors, and anytime you want to go and change a device, that's a long-term process. You said earlier, I used to work in the telecom space. When you wanted to go and functionally change the design of a handset, you had to have a 3-year roadmap. And because that 3-year roadmap, when you change the handset, then you have to change all the inner workings of the handset, get stuff fitted inside the new handset. SaaS, you can change your roadmap overnight, not literally, but you get my point, comparatively. And what I find is that 3-year roadmaps are now 1-year roadmaps. And part of that is necessary because things like AI and SaaS, whatever, have really collapsed the speed at which technology is impacting industries. And so having a 3-year roadmap is kind of a joke, because for me to say where this industry or any industry is going to be in 3 years with the pace of AI and how it's helping things work or not work in terms of development is a joke. If I have a 3-year roadmap and I say, I'm going to stick to this for 3 years, I'm lying to you. It could be a year roadmap sometimes gets blown up in 6 months because of something else that's come up into the market today. But there's certainty in that 3-year roadmap in terms of staying true to who you are. The problem that we run into now is because we have the ability to build faster, more efficiently, whatever, we get influenced by these things that will cause companies to reach. And they reach because, there's a whale. This could change the trajectory of our business. And then you can't back out of that, because what happens is that if I had built a mid-market solution that has minimal implementation time and it's more out of the box, less customization, but now I had to go and build something for a Fortune 500 or a Fortune 100 or a Fortune 50 customer, the level of customization that customer is going to need, the amount of time it's going to take to implement into that environment when all the customization that needs to get done, I've now created a box that's so big that the mid-market solution that everyone else wants, they don't want something that's going to take 6 months to implement. I'm going to go to the next guy who can take my individual use case and implement it in 30 days at a cheaper price point.